Hey y'all, it's Ree. I welcome you back and I thank you for coming back. I surely do appreciate you. Now, listen, I know what y'all here for. We come to the final episode of the whole series, so it's nothing else after this. This is what it all comes down to. And everybody's wondering, is Rock gonna die? What's gonna be the fallout from Kanan killing Marv? What's gonna be the fallout from Juke killing Snaps and Pops? What do the letter, say to Juke from Marv, now that he's gone? Let's get into it. Listen, the episode begins. Rock is pretty much numb, sitting on her couch, smoking a cigarette by the fireplace. She done lost her brothers. She done lost her mom all within a year. She can't get work out. She can't get work in. The feds is on her. Listen, the clock is running out on Rock, okay? It also, after you see Rock, sitting there, it pans to Juke. Juke is crying. Of course, she done found out that her dad is gone because it shows her crying, reading a letter. It goes to Kanan and Jarita in Kanan's apartment. She's telling Kanan, listen, I'm pregnant. He's like, how you know it's mine? You an escort. She's like, it's definitely yours. I ain't, you the only person that I, been with and haven't used protection with. It's definitely yours. So if it means anything to you, you about to be a dad. So he's like, yeah, it means something to me. Child, we see how much it means to him. We see what ends up happening in the original Power. Sean ends up being Ghost's driver. And we see what ends up happening with him and Kanan's relationship when Kanan gets out and sees the dynamic between his son and Ghost. So, you got to go back to the original Power to see that. But pretty much we all know he ends up killing his own daggone son, child. So we see the twins chilling and smoking in the squalor that is their backyard, and Breeze ends up coming to kill them. Remember, they snitched on him, when they got hemmed up for the DUI. They snitched on him in regards to, them having that pill, situation with Breeze. So he kills them. You start seeing Rock going around once again. She ends up going to Bernardi, and that's a pity sit down. So he sits down with her. He gives his condolences, and another strong no to the two of them ever having business. Like, it's over, And she's like, look, I've been in worse spots than this. He like, wait, you've been in worse spots than your son killing your brother? So you see the realization, because she didn't, up until then, she didn't know that it was Kanan who killed Marv. So, like, damn, this cat done killed both my brothers. So, of course, she goes into denial with Bernardi, and she ends up resorting to imply pretty much that Stefano just mad because she wouldn't sleep with him or whatever. So Bernardi then goes on into telling her when him and Stefano were younger that there was a girl that Stefano took from him or whatever, and pretty much has been on since then. So her, she's gonna keep using their little childhood vendetta to her advantage. So she moves right along past the family issues, the fact of, oh yeah, your son killed your brother, back to the money. Like, she gonna be her. So you see Flossie go to Juke at, the crib. And Flossie, told her how much her and her dad got along. And she's like, listen, me and your dad got along because, we didn't have nobody else in the world that we can count on. And Juke is telling her, yeah, my dad told me that you were the only one that I could trust. So of course, Juke starts to press Flossie, who killed my dad? And of course, Flossie implicates Kanan. Listen, he came in her crib, like, with a gun. Like, no, I don't fool with your mom no more because of the whole stuff that went down with my, with one of my, listen, it was pretty much, she was like, yeah, Kanan came by my crib with a gun. You know what I'm saying? So Juke is like, oh, okay, so, it was Kanan. So in her mind, she already knows. There's no question in her mind that Yeah, it was Kanan who killed my dad. So in that moment, um, the cast in the Juke, you could just see her whole aura became who we came to see her as in the original Power. Like, we've been feeling it from day one. Like, they did such a great job in the casting of that. It's the way she looks, the mannerisms, everything that they gave the adult jukebox. This young lady embodies, and in that moment, it's such a better understanding of why she ends up being so cold hearted. Um, After that, we end up seeing Kanan and Breeze at their shop at Geyer and Brewer. Breeze tells Kanan about the twins. Kanan's asking like what he heard about Snaps and Pops. To them, both of them, it's a mystery of what happened to Snaps and Pops. We all know that Juke killed Snaps and Pops. So Breeze ends up bringing up Kanan killing Marv, and Kanan's like, look, I ain't trying to talk about that right now. So he's walking off, but as he's walking off, Breeze is reminding him like, look, it's still a go on Rock though. He told him that the order to kill Rock didn't come from Snaps and Pops, it came right from Marquetti. So Kanan tells him, listen, do what you gotta do, and he skates off. We see Rock meeting up with her lawyer and them people again. And she tells them that she wants full immunity and witness protection for her and Kanan. Nothing more, nothing less. And if it's not that, then there's nothing else to talk about. So they pretty much telling her, listen, if we don't get everything that we need, we're not offering anything. We don't even know what we can offer. You know what I'm saying? We need to for sure secure a huge arrest and a huge bust. So she baits him with Marquetti, and they take the bait, but she don't really give him too much. They pretty much told her like, listen, let us run everything that you said so far up the flagpole to the AUSA, and she leaves like, okay, get me what I want and I'll get you what you want. So outside, her lawyer tells her like, listen, you better be ready to deliver. And she's like, I don't never make promises where I can't deliver. So they leave it at that. It does pan to Juke meeting with Detective Garcia at the diner. And of course, Garcia is giving his condolences for Marv as well. So she's telling him she don't know who killed her dad. But, we know she know. And she playing dumb like she don't even know who Snaps and Pop is, child. So he told her, don't do nothing that she gonna regret. And she's like, too late. So she bounces from the diner. We pretty much see a lot of the New York underworld meeting at what seems to be a memorial / repast for Snaps and Pop. R.I.P. to Isaiah Whitlock Jr., he's best known for playing Senator Clay Davis in The Wire, and most recently he played in Your Honor as well. Y'all all know his catchphrase. So he's a player in the underworld named Lump, and he's giving his condolences or whatever. He's paying his respects to Snaps and Pop. Everybody's listening. And then when he's done, he ends up, going and talking aside to Stefano. So at first they exchanging pleasantries. And then when Lump starts pressing him about Early, remember Early, Stefano's like, well, I'm sure that whoever killed Early just been taken out, so that should make, anybody feel better. And Lump is like, nah, it don't make me feel better. He's like, I'm wondering, if anybody is seeing past your facade. He telling Stefano, and seeing that you just a demon that want to live forever. And Stefano like, nah, I don't want to live forever. I just want to die last. So with that, they part ways. And at this point in Snaps and Pop Memorial, like the repass portion is full. It's in full repass mode. So you see Pino approaching Stefano. He's telling Stefano, look, Rock is all yours. I don't want to have nothing to do with her. And Stefano told him, listen, the Wills is already emotional on Rock. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Pino is like giving him permission, to go at Rock or whatever. And Stefano looking at him like, dog, I don't need your permission. He like, let me remind them who is the biggest boss. So at that, it goes to a scene where Rock is trying to approach Flossie outside of her building to see if Flossie could get her a sit down with Stefano. So of course Flossie ain't trying to hear nothing Rock gotta say after everything that she's done to her business. And Flossie tells her point blank, look, you lied to me. Marvin is dead. You don't deserve my time. So the feds go to see Kanan and talk to him about his mom asking for him to get immunity and everything, which that prompted them to do a little bit of digging on Kanan, and they really didn't find anything other than his connection to the twins who Breeze killed. So Kanan played dumb like he don't know who the twins is, and he's like, look, you need to go. But the Fed is warning him like, look, your mom loves you, she's trying to protect you, and if she's trying to protect you, we know it's more to what's going on with you than what we've been able to find, but we're gonna find it soon, and when we do, it's going to be a problem. So you need to cooperate before we find what's up with you. So, he's like, if you care about your mom, you would encourage her to take the deal, whether you were part of it or not. He's like, look, your mom got a target on her back and she's going to be dead within a week. So Kanan ends up going to Breeze on some old, look, what if we just don't kill Rock and just tell her she got to leave New York? And Breeze is like, look, it's Stefano's call. So next you see Rock meeting with her lawyer, and he's telling her, listen, the AUSA has agreed to everything that you asked for, and now they want you to give them something. So she's like, okay, and my son's gonna get the immunity, he gonna get the WITSEC too. And the lawyer's like, look, an agent went to see Kanan, he wasn't all that receptive. So she's like, yeah, because she's all proud, like, yeah, because Kanan ain't no snitch, and how I'm going to be a snitch if my own son is being solid. The lawyer is pleading with her like, take this deal. And she gets up and tells the lawyer to tell the FBI to kiss her ass. Told them she ain't going out like that. Excuse me. So next, ladies and gentlemen, we meet the babies. This is probably maybe the youngest that we see them. Of Tommy and Jamie, aka Ghost. We pretty much see Kanan tell them to skedaddle, told them they too young, told them beat it, and come back when they ain't eating Happy Meals no more, child. So after that, we see Juke at the funeral parlor talking to her dad, and he still looks alive to me. Like, how in caskets, like, people have that, they have that sealed look. Like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? You could still see Marv pores and everything. Like, he looked good, child. So anyway, she gets his signature Dum Dum Lollipop, puts it on his inside pocket. Kanan ends up meeting with Rock downtown Queens somewhere. It's on a busy street. He like, oh, you won't trust me to meet me at the crib? She like, nah, we good right here in public. Juke ends up following him, so she watching the whole time. So, oh, I'm sorry, I missed something. Kanan ends up going to meet with Marchetti and, personally asking him, like, listen, can we just get Rock out of New York versus killing her? Marchetti's like, nah, listen, the first conversation I had with you, I asked you, like, if anything went down, if I had to put your mom down, was you cool? You said you was cool. And Kanan's like, yeah, nah, I said that, but right now I got too much on my head and I don't need that added. And Stefano's like, I just can't let all that stuff that she did go unanswered. So he's like, listen, it's just something, Kanan, like, it's just something telling me I just don't want to do this. And just thinking about all the stuff my mom has done, I just don't want it to go down like this. So with Kanan putting it like that, Stefano, it pulls at his heartstrings a little bit, and he starts thinking about his own mom. And, he tells Kanan, like, okay, like, look, I'll let Rock go, but before she go, she got to do one last thing for me. So Kanan leaves. Juke is following him, follows him. Then he meets with Rock, and they not looking at each other at all. They both facing the street. Everything's going on around them. Like I said, they just meet on a busy street, so you see everything going on around them. And she tells him, I know you told the feds no. He was like, yeah, that ain't me. And she was like, I got shook for a minute and lost my head, but I remember who I am. Pretty much saying, like, I was about to snitch, but you feel me? You was an example, son. So she finally takes her shades off and looks at him, and she's like, I'd rather fall for the flag than for the feds, for these feds. So anyone who want it can come get it, and that includes you. And he's looking back at her. So finally he turns to face her, and he's looking at her. He told her he don't want that, and that's why he reached out to her. Like, Ma, I don't want you to die. He told her, look, I spoke to Stefano. He said he'll let you go. You just got to do one final thing. You know what I'm saying? And she's, sucking her teeth, and she's like, you was my baby. Like, remember I used to bring you warm milk and this and that, now look at us. And he's like, look, I don't want you to die. Go hear Stefano out, you know what I'm saying? And he walks away, and then she's calling after him like, Kanan, I blame myself, and I'm sorry, and all this is my fault, because of how I raised you, and, I love you, but it's, it's not to say that I can forgive everything. You killed my brothers, but it's also because of the example that I led for you, And you kind of see both of them getting emotional, and by that time he's turned around and they're face to face again, and she's taking all the blame for everything. At the end of the day, she created him. If it wasn't for the life she led, things would be different. And she tells him it may not seem like it or feel like it, but she loved him in a way that she could, and she did the best she could. And Kanan's like, listen, if you care about me like you say you do, you will go talk to Stefano. You know what I'm saying? And finally she's like, do you love me, Kanan? And you kind of see him get choked up a little bit. And he's like, no, you my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she's like, that don't mean nothing, And he's like, no matter how much you messed up, it's a part of me that still believes that you're going to get better. You know what I'm saying? And I've been waiting on for you to get better, but you just keep letting me down. He's like, it's messed up that the same person that tries to take your pride is the one that you trying to make proud. And he's talking, and it's like, but it's too late for all that. We can't fix everything that's wrong. What's done is done. He said, maybe we could do one thing right. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about, and that's her pretty much going to Stefano and just getting out of New York. You know what I'm saying? He's like, it don't got to end with you dying. So she looks him in the eye, and she's like, I'm sorry. And she hugs him. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole time it's like still tears coming from her eyes, and you do see him get a little choked up. I don't quite see him shed a tear, but his eyes water, and he end up, putting his arms around her too. But as they separate, like, he's still mean mugging. He like, look, just go talk to Stefano. And the whole time though, remember, Jukebox is watching. So they part ways. And the next thing you see Breeze talking to Stefano, telling them like, listen, I know Snaps and Pop is going now, but you ain't gonna have no problems with me and my people. We a well-oiled machine. And Stefano was like, listen, I'm not trying to deal with no teeny boppers. But before they can even get into that conversation, Rock walks in. So Stefano kind of tells Breeze, all right, go, let me talk to her for a second. And Stefano pretty much tells her he needs her to do a thing, and if she don't do it, pretty much she ain't even gonna make it to her car. And he kind of nods over, and Breeze is watching like, you ain't gonna make it out this building, baby. You know what I'm saying? So you better take whatever deal he offering. So she does end up taking a deal because she leaves out of there alive, and we see Breeze and Kanan meet back up, and they both discussing how good business is going. And then Breeze tell Kanan like, hey, it looked like it's about the, like, Marquetti is gonna give Rock the pass. And he's like, I respect you, for stopping Rock from getting killed. I would have did the same thing for my mom. So we kind of see like a montage of Rock going around saying her goodbye. She goes to the cemetery to their her brother's graves and her mom's grave. She goes to see Juke, but Juke wouldn't answer the door. She goes take one more spin around to their old house where her and Kanan live. And then that night we see her go to Pino Bernardi's hotel room and shoot him dead. So that was pretty much what Stefano was asking her to do. The next day you see her doing her last minute packing. She got a bunch of money in bags, getting her clothes together, and Juke just walks in the living room with a gun. And she points the gun and she's like, I'm sorry, Aunt Rock. And Rock is like, wait, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. And Juke was like, listen, if I tried to make you understand, you still wouldn't. But this is just something that I got to do. And Rock looks across the room. She kind of looking at her gun on her table, like halfway across the room. And Juke clocks it. So Rock is telling Juke, it wasn't me that put Marvin down. And Juke is telling her, yeah, I know it was Kanan. And Rock like, Kanan, like, what do Kanan got to do with me? You know what I'm saying? You okay, you know this, but you hear about to kill me. And before you know it, you see Rock try to kind of like run and reach for her gun on the table, and Juke clips her mid-run. Rock on the ground. Juke walks up on her, looks at her. She dying. Juke finishes the job. And the next thing you see is Juke and Kanan meeting in that diner. And pretty much you could tell by Kanan's face before he even opened his mouth that Juke tells him, yeah, I just killed your moms. You know what I'm saying? And Kanan don't believe her and asks why wouldn't she just come after him. And she was like, well, that was the plan, but then I saw y'all together. You know what I'm saying? They still both able to hug each other and show emotion and talk. Her mom and dad going. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, I'm at the point, I want you to feel the pain forever. You know what I'm saying? I want you to have nothing, just like me. I want you to go through life alone with nobody who cares for you, because that is worse than being dead, she told him pretty much. And he's like, well, you just as alone as me now. But she's like, nah, knowing I did this to you is going to keep me warm at night for a long time. And that's enough for me. And he's like, well, I could just kill you myself. And Juke looks at him and was like, have at it, nigga. And it's like that was it for her. She no longer cares about nothing. So just as Kanan is getting up and walking away from that conversation, she yells back to him that, look, Rock never loved you anyway. She told me right before she died, she was begging for me to kill you instead of her. So that was their last words with each other. And he goes to Rock's house and he sees that she is definitely laying there dead. And you start hearing the adult Kanan in his voiceover pretty much saying that this was not the end of his story. This was just the beginning. And 50 Cent got to tie everything back to, it's not a this story. It's not a that. It's a South Side. So it's a South Side Jamaica story. Blah, blah. Was y'all underwhelmed? Was y'all underwhelmed? I don't know. So, okay. So, and then even more strange to me, I'm not mad. That was the end. Okay. That's how it ended. That's how y'all wrote it. But after that, we start to see the credits run. So the credits are running, and you know how when you leave in the movies and the credits is running, but you gotta wait around for like some additional footage that a lot of people might miss. Well, that's pretty much what happened. So the credits is running, then it pans to all black screen, all red numbers, 1975. Okay, so it's given the year is 1975. So it takes us, okay, we outside of Jamaica General Hospital. Then it goes into one of the hospital rooms. Okay, Good Times is playing on the TV. It's 1975 in a black person's hospital room. Okay. And then it starts to me to look a little bit AI-ish. It must be right after Kanan was born, because you have a young Rock in the hospital bed cradling, newborn Kanan. You see young Lou sitting there. You see a young Marvin with baby Juke in a stroller. How they got Rock and Marvin to look exactly like the way they look, it's unreal. And so until anybody proves me wrong, this is AI. But that scene, I don't know. The scene don't really mean anything to me. Maybe it was supposed to, but it didn't add anything to the story. There wasn't any missing pieces or conspiracies, in my opinion, that could be derived from this moment other than us seeing the family on the day that Kanan was born. Like, this is something that they could have put in the first episode, like, around the scene showing them all meeting for family dinner together. He was like, we meet for family dinner every week on the same day at the same time. It could have been in that montage of we real close. We started as a close family. Now kind of you see how the shit ends. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe I was missing something. But yeah, that's how it ended. So, tell me what y'all think. And are y'all going to be watching Origins? We know for sure that Kanan and Breeze are going to be in Origins. Juke might eventually come or make cameos later on, but she, the actress Haley Kilgore said that she wasn't, she's not slated to be in the series as of now. But are y'all going to ride with Origins? I know a lot of people didn't watch Force. I've watched everything in the Power universe. Tommy was my favorite character, so it wasn't no doubt that I wasn't going to watch Force. So everybody thinks that whatever they want to think about that. But Origins is going to be the literal origin story of Tommy and Ghost. So I'm definitely going to watch that. Right now, I see Stars is also running one of 50's newest shows called Fightland. I watched the first couple episodes. It's okay. It's only okay to me. It's not really keeping my attention. Like I said last time, I gotta watch the subtitles because they have very strong accents. So in the meantime, I'm gonna wait for Origins and watch it when it comes out later this year or early next year. Listen, shows depicting street life in the 80s and 90s. Speaking of them, y'all know that it's about to be a spinoff of Snowfall. Now, it's not to talk about them in the same conversation because, listen, Snowfall was on a whole different level. So, yes, the drop of Snowfall Saga is going to premiere on FX on September the 8th. And like Raising Kanan, Snowfall was set in the 80s, but it was on the West Coast, specifically LA. So you had the drugs, you had the different players, you had the law. Snowfall, in my opinion, is set apart from the Power universe to me. Like, I don't know if it was the acting, the production, the setting, or what. Like, naturally, I can relate more to the setting of the Power universe because it's the East Coast. But it's definitely something magical about Snowfall. Like, that show was art. Like, Snowfall was poetic. And I still say shame on them because it definitely should have gotten awards. Anyway, child, y'all know I'm going to be watching them both. So we're going to be right here and I'm going to be recapping them with y'all if y'all have me. So I appreciate y'all for pressing play and for y'all indulging me and listening to this recap. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. So thank y'all so much. And until next time, I'll see y'all.